Everyone has something to share, in either wisdom, story, or logic, and it's clearly amazing to hear all the differing missing links discovered by people, unique to their own journeys, and in how they have come to discover them. Together, we can help to build a bigger picture for a better future, for a brighter tomorrow. Let's stand united. Let's remove the veils, and let's create a new world together. Are you that missing link? Join Jesse Hale on the Missing Link Talk Show as he helps to unveil the mystery through the unique wisdom and story of others. Only on Real Revolution.
Welcome everybody here back to the Forbidden History Chronicles. We've had a little bit of a break so far, getting some stuff done together, but we're glad to be back here. And here we have the Desert Owl. How are you today, brother?
Hey, Jesse, good to be here. And took a couple weeks off. Still not done with the book. I got the next week in front of me, but it's a big book, and the Kayla D is the most important gospel discovery in our modern time that nobody talks about. So I'm going to go into that with some quotes at the beginning and at the back that prime us for words. We're not. The problem is, Jesse, we just don't. We've never learned how to read, and so we've been taught to memorize things, and this is the way it is, and don't ask questions, and so. Ultimately, we've gone down that trail our entire life, and then we don't have the ability to get to ground zero, which is the center point of where it's at with who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are. To answer those big questions, because people are under the illusion that this is a real world, when actually it's a fabricated construct that was brought to us by people that actually hit our guts, and all they've done is perfected slave management. There is no conspiracy. It is slave management. That's all it's ever been. And if people get that, then, like even the marching in the street, I love all the people, it brings tears to my eyes at times when I come from being a political activist for over, 30 years. Well, started 30 years ago. I was a latecomer to the movement, but to see that fervor, while at the same time, they really don't know how big the game is, how the game is really played. They only see the front people, and they don't even know there's a back, a back side to the organization that we never hear about, don't know about, and they're the ones been running the world. And they've created corrupt cultures as a result. Obviously, they created a bad world. And so we're needing to interpret the it starts with the Ace of Wars, the words, and I call them the road signs of history. And so if we can follow the words and actually find out they're actually telling us, they're telling us something, and we have to then be sophisticated enough to know how to interpret a word. And I want to welcome our listeners out there, by the way. And Jesse, do you want to jump in before I start going down the Phoenician Trail?
No, I was just sharing this out to a bunch of groups. We just, got back onto Facebook. Was the first, one of the reasons why we took a break for such a long time is because we didn't have access to it, and it seems like we can connect with the most amount of people on it. So glad to be back here, with all of you. Here on Facebook. We're also on our YouTube, Forbidden History Chronicles YouTube channel, and we're also on our Twitch, our Missing Link Twitch channel. So, the Desert Owl here's got a lot of missing links, that he's going to provide through the Forbidden History Chronicles. So we kind of tying a little bit in together. That's why we have our entry promo. So thanks very much for your time, Desert, and thank you for all the people that are here, listening. So please get this out there. So if you can thumbs up, share it out, just so we can reach as many people as possible, that would be great. So thanks very much, and take it away, Desert.
Absolutely, and thank you to everyone who shares this information. You have to stop what you're doing in order to follow what I'm doing, and be able to get your feet wet into something that you've never dove into before, because it's basically it's a science, and that's what's really great about it. Because therefore, science means exact knowing, and this is about then knowing exactly how they played the game on you and how the code works, because codes are based on symbols, and so therefore it comes down to being able to interpret the symbols. So when we talk about words which correctly in the original thought of the Indo-Germanic, the term Indo-Germanic is an oxymoron, but that's classically known as that. And it's the unwritten record that they claim that, which is well founded. The claim it's true that the majority of all European, in particular, languages, which is a bad word, are from the Indo-Germanic. So we go back to what was breathed into Adam. They wanted us stuck in the Hebrew and the Greek because they control it. But once you can be set free from their control, then you can possibly put on. Well, the first thing that it opened all up with me for is when I realized that they were lying to me. Okay, here's the stage. They created this classic stage here, and Francis Bacon. I was actually going to go and show out of my little Masonic Bible here. One of my listeners 20 years ago got me this wonderful Masonic Bible. Got an Egyptian dictionary in the back. Go figure, right? But Francis Bacon, he's in here, and I'll just. Well, if you go to Psalm 46, okay, you can do this on your own. Just write down, go to Psalm 46, count down 46 words, then count up 46 words. And then you'll see you got shake and spear, okay? And so he was the spear shaker. That was Francis Bacon. He could have been King of England. He was contemporary with King James. But he was the draftsman for the New Atlantis. Okay, for the bankers, of course, the Jewish banking is running it all. There's the little man behind the curtain pulling his strings. Hope you don't notice. And let me just pull this down here. There's our contact information, ladies and gentlemen. If you're trying to reach us, you want to get a free PDF of any of our books, or make a donation and get a PDF. Then just contact us right there. Okay. And
put that screen back on for a sec.
Yeah, sure can, Jack.
Okay, so the Desert Owl here, he's got how many books?
Well, I'm just shy of 30. I've lost count now, so it's 28, 29, 30.
Almost 30 books that he has for sale. Are you still selling them on Amazon?
Yeah, I'm on Amazon, Lulu, and Kobo in Australia. Huh?
Which provides you with the most amount of profit for a book sale?
Are you asking me which one?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're all relative, in the same market. So and there are no sales. There's only been one book on Lulu all this time, and then nothing on Kobo. And I usually get 1, 2, or 3 on average every month. 1, 2, or 3 books sold. And I know it's when our economy took the hit. And I don't blame people for not buying books. The only difference for what we have to offer is that it's a gift that keeps on giving. And because knowledge, information, inspiration, these are the things that we need, right now. So these books help to open up how we've been lied to. That's all it really comes down to.
So if you guys can, support, Desert Owl here, you can, purchase any of his books. You can call him. He's always open. He's got his email was there, not up there anymore, but, and also his Skype. Please purchase any books that, you can do to support his work, to support, we don't ask for any money for any of the stuff that, we do. I'm not asking for anything, but I, want to present all the information out there. But, Desert, has spent a lot of time, and, he's going through, like everybody else, a little bit of a rough patch. So if, you do want to support his work or support the Forbidden History Chronicles, you can, buy one of his books on Amazon, Cobalt, or Lulu, and it just helps further his cause and helps him out, because he's wanting to get this information out there. So, but as well, he had his phone number up there and his Skype and his email. Reach out to him, and if you can, like if you can't, afford to be able to purchase a book and you really want one of the books in PDF form, you can just reach out to him and he'll send you one, even without a donation. So that's how much he just wants to get that information
I
out there.
can't give it away, Jesse. I just don't get it. We got hundreds, maybe a couple thousand listeners, but people don't. They're so I don't know, reserved or shy or afraid what it is, but they don't reach out anymore. And but yeah. So I want to share it because that's the scripture that says freely we have received, and so the gifts of the great anomalies that we're confronted with, and to know really how it works and the game they played on us and how to unravel the mysteries and read words for the first time, is a miracle in itself, because we're in an altered state, in an altered environment that is not natural, that was designed to control us and has done a pretty darn good job. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Well, every part is deception, and it doesn't matter, where you're looking or what
Uh-huh.
book. They've been controlling this for, some people say, 6,000-year-old death cult. So, you look into any kind of book or anything out there, it's all got their deception in it. There's not a lot of real truth out there unless you can decipher it. And that's why we got Desert Owl here to help us decipher, some of the, the truths that are hidden in between all of their deception.
I've been swinging, Jesse, that's for sure. And and I've met a lot of great people along the way. The only problem is there's too few. Even people, when they think they've figured something out, because they got bit by the beast, then they say, well, they woke up. But at the same time, the people who think they woke up because they discovered something haven't begun to discover the great deeper mysteries of our environment, and the game, the way the game really works, what I call the unseen hand. That term was coined by Ralph Epperson, who wrote the book The Unseen Hand. I became friends with Ralph. When I went down with my 18-wheeler through Tucson, I called Ralph up, said, Ralph, let's get together, do breakfast, and I'm buying. And so we did. Then I did an interview in my truck with him, had my tape recorder back then, and the cassette tapes, and then but anyway, so Ralph really coined the term correctly. It's the unseen hand, but I don't even remember Ralph really getting to the core of the onion. But he did a great job on exposing a lot of it. But the core of the onion being the ancient Aryan Brahmin caste system that is fronted by Hinduism, but then is fronted by the Vatican, which is also a front for, as you know, with what we presented, the Ashkenazi Khazars, who are actually those who call themselves Jews today, the bankers running the Vatican, running Switzerland, running, so it's quite a legacy we've got in this world to try to figure out. And we don't have, I'm not, my position is not about saving the world, because I find it harder just to get people to see. So just to be able to get somebody to see is a great challenge. Forget about the psychopaths who control all technology, that literally have been running the show for thousands of years, not tens, not hundreds, but thousands of years, since the beginning of the Aryan race, approximately 8, 9, maybe at the most 10,000 years ago, but in that general range. A couple thousand years before the flood, then after the flood, about 5,000, 6,000 years now. So add it all together, it's and there's so much to be said. But before I even get into the original stories of creation and all that, we need to have to know how to read, because that way you can follow better. If I can prove out, the different games that are being played with words in particulars. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here today. And anytime Jesse can jump in, and I'll be glad to take any questions that are out there, mostly related, of course, to what we're talking about in particular. Otherwise, if it's a general question, maybe save it to the end, that type of thing, because we have limited time today. Okay, And so the Ashkenazi Jews, they're the ones who are the plantation managers. We can just look at them like corporations. The nations are the imaginations, and but war is waged with words, and the word itself is war. Okay, you can see it just changed one vowel, and you got war. And wards, ward where you put your armaments. And so if we have time, we'll go down there. I wanted to do a review today. That's because this is the response to the manipulations that I had included for a follow-up on the Ashkenazis. But I definitely wanted to do the dictionary today because I wanted people to see the work put out for one of the books. And so before I get there, since we're going to talk about words, sometimes I'm modifying and shifting as I'm going, and I just realized I wanted to cover a certain area, and we can break this down into two different programs. I always have a bigger plate to chew off of, and so I never get it all out. But anyway, so let me talk about words. For near 50 years, at least over 40, I've been wanting to publish the unspoken word publications. It became the non-spoken word publications. We don't want the unword, the for like UN and United and all the unnighting they do. So it's reversal. So the non-spoken word publications is ultimately what it evolved into. And then I put at the beginning and at the book of the Kayla D. This all came together over the last 2 weeks. Certain quotes about words, because to open up people, oh yeah, okay, I haven't seen it this way before. Okay, I'm getting it. That type of thing. So this is in the book opener. If the words are not correct, and I had to remember this. It took me a couple weeks to actually remember this quote by Confucius. I didn't know where I could find it. And so anyway, it says, if the words are not correct, then what is being said is not what is meant. Then all knowledge, science, the arts, justice, and the social order will all fail, while the people, they stand around idle, not knowing what to do, having become slaves within their own minds. So words, they matter absolutely and way above everything else. Without words, we can do nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Have to have them. If one does not know the heart of words, then one cannot know the heart of man. Confucius again. That's a nice piece of artwork by Ninja Cat.
Was Confucius confused?
No, they changed his name, Jesse. Actually, it's a different word. I have it written down, in all my notes, and you can find the real name on the internet. But so that you can see how they bastardize words. That was part of that package I was looking at to go through first here, where it said in there. I can't remember now, but it was. There's phrases that are close, and then there's phrases that are not as close. Here we have in order to know how the ancients thought, we have to speak with the imagery that these ancients spoke. Okay, and so that's what I'm trying to draw people in on in the document. I'm leading up to it. In the years to come, the people of conviction will need to become bilingual, and that was Maximus Caesar, actually correctly Caesar, and that's the Turkish front. They, the good guys, bad guys. Turk, I learned since we last did a program, Turk is dark, same word for dark, and that's what the Turks were. They were a new culture that had been, developing in an isolated area of its own, and so we see from the classic Aryan, then this dark black hair, dark brown skin, and so this is how cultures have switched out, just like it was pure Aryan in Mazar, falsely called Egypt, and also in Jerusalem. Khazars are not Israel, bottom line.
I just wanted to say a point of what you were saying before about the language and stuff. So Angeline, my beautiful girlfriend, who's feeling much better, so thanks for all your
Hi,
thoughts,
Angeline.
support, prayers and stuff. She when she read the Bible, so she read it 4 times from beginning to end, and then she also read it twice in its original text. But when she read it in its original text, she had to study culture and language at the time that it was written so she could understand the apocalyptic language that it was written in, when, to really further understand that. So, back then they were writing in apocalyptic language. So in order to, firmly understand what they're saying, is you have to understand what they meant by what they were saying at
Oh
that
yeah,
time.
it's easy to lose the original meaning, and then especially when people are doing it on purpose. Like at the Hittite temple, the a ladder script was found near one of the entrances, and it was a totally different. It was a more pictographic, and so their illustration for an idea was the picture of an eye and then a deer with antlers on it. See, because you got to go looking, right? You got to go hunting. You got to have a sharp aim, and so there's your idea. You're looking, and so that's how simple it is, and yet it's even in our words today like that. That's what I share as I go through the list periodically. So all letters are pictures. They are all ancient symbols. They are all true spiritual seeds of light that tell a real story as they carry within them a dual theme about the great mystery of life. You can now follow this pure trail all the way back in time, back to its very root I, all the way back as we venture on then into that very beginning of time. That's my quote. And if you search on Amazon anytime, A. Micah Hill, Desert Owl, all the books will come up. You can see what we're doing. There's a list in this Kayla D book. If you decide to get it, off the internet, then all the list of the other books are in the back. So this is the science of lexicography or lexicography. Okay. And there's a lot of $1 million words they like to throw out. And when it's really a lot simpler, and that's the thing, having to memorize all these different words on things. When lexicon itself, lex for law, Latin for law, I for of in this sense, con, lexicon, the eye of the con. Well, there you go. They're controlling. And what really got me in the Jusinius lexicon when I was reading it a long time ago, and there in the introductory stuff, it was talking about not Israel, but it was talking about the Phoenicians. Oh, the Hebrew script, and yet they're talking about it being Phoenician. You see, so not even the priesthood, not even Israel, but who also the Phoenicians also worshipped the Adonai. So anyway, this is out of Webster. There is a primary, and I think you can see the screen I'm on, right, Jesse, as I'm doing it.
It's on full screen.
Full screen, okay.
Yeah.
And so there is a primary sense, a zensi, which is what sense is, zensi, for every word from which all others have proceeded. So whenever this can be discovered, then this higher sense, or zensi, it must stand first in the order. That's Noah Webster, 1828. The American Dictionary on the English Language should have been American Heritage Dictionary, because what happened right after the death of Webster is Merriam, the Merriam Company. And then funny, Merriam is the abbreviation code for Mitzrayim, Egypt. Oh, for Mary, Mitzrayim. Miriam is Mitzrayim. And so they really, there was a word I was going to go to. Now I can't even remember it. But anyway, yeah. So there, Merriam-Webster, then the implication being with the Webster Dictionary is that it was bought up by the Jewish banking, because that's the Merriam Company. They have to control the words, just like the Black's Law Dictionary also comes out of the Lloyd's of London, the City of London. Same with the King James Version. Everything comes out of there because that is the central point. Everything, and especially the money, So put it together. Who runs the show and who wages the wars? All of them, all the fronts they control. Okay, it will be seen. This is now a really important quote, because I got his books that were reprinted from the 1800s and early 1900s. Okay, of this L. Austin Waddell. And so, they're using Sumeria today as a giant platform from Anunnaki and aliens and body harvesting, and all these things, and I have friends that follow that. And so, we all have to do our own probing and our own, research to, and follow our convictions. But what's interesting is that in the time of Waddell, he's writing dictionaries. I've got a couple of his dictionaries on the shelf of the Sumerian, which he says is just basically Aryan and no different than the what we call Egyptian or Nazarene hieroglyphics, Aryan. That and then Israel, we would go to back to Israel and the pure tribe through David and Jacob and Noah and Abraham and all those is they're the pure tribe, and they're Aryan. And so we're talking about not invisible things that go bump in the night. At least I'm not. I'm not talking about devils, demons, Satan, or any of those things that people can't define by words, but we're talking about people. And so one of the other covers, if they couldn't convince you of, demons and spirits and everything, and I don't fault my friends if they follow it, that's their business, but I'm talking about what I've learned, what I've discovered. And then they got us to, look for aliens, but they had to destroy the Sumerian discoveries. They had to change the narrative. And that's why, they even talk about the kings when they read about the history of the kings there. They lived to be 25 or 40,000, rule for 25 or 40,000 years. Give me a break, will you? I mean, even in the scriptures, it was clear that man didn't live past 1,000 years. He lived that long in the beginning, and I think it was because they knew the power of snake venom and what it could do. It extended their life, and I think that was the secret. And that's also why we're called the serpent, But anyway, so Waddell, he nails it, and this is such important stuff, and it's all now swept under the carpet. That's why they always say the Aryan invasion. Well, we think, they say this group over here says the Aryans came from the west, and the other one says, no, they came from the east, out of India, And well, guess what? They came in between both, and they went in both directions, and they operated out of the east in secret. Made their front office Egypt, which is originally Nazareth, paradise of the sun. That's what it implies, and more than that. So there was a whole school of thought that was well established, 100 years ago, but because of the need for propaganda and the sensational takeover of the world by aliens. Again, don't look at those Aryans. Just change one letter. Alien, change the L and put an R there. You get Aryan. So there's the royal symbols, the L and the R. We'll be talking about that as we do the presentations. So let's see what Waddell had to say. It will be seen that where no Aryan affinity whatsoever has hitherto been noticed or even suspected by Assyriologists, wonder why, and Sumerologist, that's a mouthful for me, Sumerologist, as existing in Sumerian, it turns out that all the Sumerian words are radically Aryan, and that over 75%, and then we could talk about Sanskrit because it's one of the most ancient examples of it as well, but the letters were changed. The letters I'm talking about are the capital letters as the true Sanskrit, script that you write in the sand, because that's the only thing you can write in the sand, not the Demotic script that we see in Arabic or what's in Syria today, or pseudo-Sanskrit. It's the straight lines. That's what we have on our driver's license. We get on our license tags, on the communications, capital letters, and that's the original. And they put it right in our face, and nobody can interpret it. And that's what we're going to learn in the series coming up, probably starting next week, ladies and gentlemen. We're just doing a primer today. Okay, so where were we? I got excited. Let's see here. Okay, so I'll just try it again. It will be seen that where no Aryan affinity whatsoever has hitherto been noticed or even suspected by Assyriologists and Sumerologists, got to really bend my neck to do that, as existing in Sumerian, it turns out that all the Sumerian words are radically Aryan, and that over 75% of the current are English words. 75% are English words. Why do you think I can interpret it? Okay? because it's in our face. And we just were never, it was never even pointed to. How can you know about something if nobody even told you about something, right? Numbering many thousands of words, even from radical word signs and more common compound signs, to which my dictionary is limited, are derived from the Sumerian. That he's talking about his dictionary, not my dictionary. He's just acknowledging the truth, and yet so his dictionary is very, very much an example only, are derived from the Sumerian, and that the ancient Nazareth, falsely called Egyptian, tongue at the present was unsuspected of having any affinity with the Aryan, and is also, with its system of hieroglyphic writing, radically Aryan. Wow, that's a pretty emphatic statement. The Sumerian tongue, thus seen to have been evolved by our Aryan ancestors, has with it a great spiritual and cultural current which it embodies, all flowing steadily down into our modern life, and explains the remarkable fundamental unity of thought within the higher ancient Aryan civilizations which have endured down throughout all of the ages. L. Austin Waddell, A Sumerian Aryan Dictionary, 1927, author of The Aryan Origins of the Alphabet, 1927, The Phoenician Origin of Britons, Scots, and Anglo-Saxons, 1924, and The Buddhism of Tibet, or Lamanism, 1895. Tell me that guy didn't know a few things to write those kind of books. They're big, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing what they were able to do back then without a computer and hardly a typewriter. And so that really, puts things in perspective. But why now nobody hears about this, right? All covered up. Now we're talking about aliens, Anunnaki, Stargate, and all that, So anyway, that we all have to remember the old political axiom is that they don't care what the answers are as long as you're asking the wrong questions. So keep asking questions, don't stop, and maybe you'll get to the core of the onion where it's sweet, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care how bad it is. I just want to know the truth, right? Okay, so one letter. This is the most fundamental rule of diction, and notice how ours doesn't follow this rule, and that's why they say when foreigners come to America, it's hard to learn English on the angle. Okay, one letter, one symbol, one sound, one alphabet, one origin. The first rule of the election, and there's the Indo-Germanic aspect of that. Anything beyond this, and it becomes the author of the great literary confusion. The confusion, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you focus upon, it is what you become conscious of. Ian, go ahead.
I was going to say 100%.
What, this quote?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whatever you focus upon is what you become conscious of. Ian Zell Lungold, he became conscious of the Mayan calendar, and with a Swedish scientist, unlocked the mystery of the Mayan calendar and told the entire history of creation through it. And so he went around doing lectures, and Ian, who really confirms scripture. That's really what it did. When you compare them, the notes, that's the 6 days of creation, and it's 6 billion years. That's the 6, because it says period, and a period is that which is great. That which is smallest is like that which is greatest. A period is a dot, the smallest symbol, most powerful. It stops everything, and it is the symbol of a star. And so Ian looks like something happened to him, and he became very ill and passed away soon after doing these presentations. So rest in peace, Ian, for your great work. Very honored to give you that quote there. Never forgot it. Okay, so the Gospel of the Strangers, or the Kayla D. The 3rd edition is on the bookstores, but we're just about a week away from getting it, the 4th edition, onto the updated onto the different websites, ladies and gentlemen. But I wanted to just continue the thought on words at the end. I have the addendum then. Okay, so let's scroll here. An important quote from watered down versions, where the real depth and the meanings that the original text conveyed is totally lost and incomplete across the board, totally. And that's Brent Miller, Sr., the Pure Word. They did a translation called the Pure Word, and he also had the Horizon Project, where he presented the anomalies in the ancient writings of the past, how they always talked about the cataclysm that would come, which one way or another we're looking at. And then another of my quotes here, man was never inclined only towards the mere tangible realities, and he will always remain within his own adolescent state by his lack of true knowledge about his own true origin, since it is not possible for him to believe very long upon that which has escaped his mental, material senses. So it must be then that wherever there is no clear vision for this, the people, they will always perish. The superficiality of this world could cause someone to believe something that is inherently false, even if merely to trick the mind into thinking that there is actually another reality other than the one that truly is. I think, therefore I am. Ignorance, that is the great deceiver, ladies and gentlemen. You got those people, yeah, I saw it on television, gotta be true, you know, and they form their opinions by the opinions of others, never learned anything. Yeah, Bob thinks so, you know, it's got to be true. Yeah. If you don't know the meaning of words, then you are not qualified to say anything. And that's a pretty powerful point, I think. You agree, Jesse? I mean, come on.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're, you know, trying to convince people of things, then obviously that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, when, in other words, my premise now is that before we can talk about the translations, you know, like with people when they get their King James, and then, you know, that's the Golden Star version, you know, of Scripture. Before or after, you know, before, I like the before part. What was the authorized before, you know? But anyway, that the words that they're using, you know, are the anomaly, because they changed the meaning of words. They took the words out and they replaced them with other words. And so this is the great intellectual theft that has occurred. And in the book, I'll show you an example of the book. I'll go to an important part and just show you the translation, how it's developed, because I haven't shown that, but you'll see how it blends from the original thought to the literal sense and then to the modern. And so I convey these important words in usually three ways. There are none so blind as those who refuse to see.
Many
and you got that, Mike?
see.
If one does not know the heart of words, one cannot know the heart of man. There's that Confucius again. And they wanted him to be confusion. We must not cease from our exploration, for the end of all our exploring will be to arrive from where we started, and to know that place for the very first time through the unknown gate, now remembered. The truth is not a part of any lie. Can't be a little pregnant and a little not pregnant. The truth is not a part of any lie. Truth will always be stranger than the fiction. Boy, I've given up trying to talk to people out there anymore. It's quite an uphill battle.
There's someone that's got a podcast, Stranger Than Fiction News.
Yeah, that's
he's pretty good.
A long time ago, this was a riddle that was given to me 15, 18 years ago by the Heavenly Father. without getting into how that occurred. And but the answer then came 10 years later. It was that long drawn out. He's on a long timeline. But it got me looking, and then when it opened up, it was like, okay, there it is. And then more of it opens up. You're being led down a trail, A long, long time ago, there was A. That was the first part of the riddle. And then the rest of it came 10 years later. A long, long time ago, there was an A or an I. A is the symbol for the I. And the Y goes with it in the word. A is A-Y, which is we corrupted into E-Y-E. Okay, so a long, long time ago, there was an I for the return. There was an I for the return. In other words, the way it's so mystified to us and covered up today, it wasn't quite like that back then. That's why they had to control the alphabet, the very script. That's why they had to control the words, or change the words, because you get one generation. Look, that's why they're going after the little ones, right? They're taking down the older folks, and then the next generation, they've been wearing a mask, growing up wearing a mask, and they're the victims of a very, very terrible game. And so a long, long time ago, there was A and an I for the return. So we don't know now. We don't know who we are, where we are, why we are, or when we are. We only think we think we do. We think we do, but yet it is so far down. Let's get the first. So the first thing we have to do, my point with that quote, is before we can talk about translations, we got to talk about how they have changed the translations, changed the words, and then we can have a discussion. But people want to parrot. They want to parrot what is the occultic version, that the occult gave us. Lloyds of London, Vatican, Hinduism, Brahmanism, all under the control. When you change your consciousness in the way you look at things, we saw that quote earlier. Okay, if we can bypass that. And words are the DNA of life. I saw that wrote that quote about 20 years ago, and they were really opening up. But everything, I should have the A is in color here, because all of the symbolism, the A is the prima, it's the alpha, it's the primary. And we add a little more symbols. The universe gets a little more confusing. And so all different symbols, the circle 8, the regular 8, all are related to each other. There's a lot going on with the symbols. The dictionary that I'll be pointing to later will show some of that. How they flip the alphabet, they flip it, they reverse it, they do all these things. And you can read that later on, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just have it go onto the screen, and then you can stop that, okay? And but that's presenting the real alphabet. It's the AV together in the star, and the 4 directions. That's the circle comes from the bottom. Everything came out of the A, so the circle comes out of the bottom. It's a compass. It's an architect's compass, A for architect, and then you drew out a circle. So the V is here. They're hiding in the Roman V. That's the Roman style. You can clearly see the V. Ours is straight today, so we don't get it, but it is the star. It's the upper part instead of here. It's the lower part of the V, and the V comes out, so it's a star. The mixing of the two worlds, the invisible or spiritual plane with the visible material plane, and then the 4 rivers of light, the 4 directions. The rivers mentioned in Genesis are just symbolic, according to Philo, who was a friend of Yeshua. In his big work, he talks about it. And so people are taking things literally, just like the Garden of Eden. They think it's on earth, but it's really the sun. The sun represents Eden, the light that everything fell from, into the darkness of material. So, so we got, then I read this the other day on the original thought. And so you can go back to the last video, or just slow this down. And I probably should have went a little slower. I apologize. It'll stop. And or just hit me up if you want to get, like I said, any of this material, ladies and gentlemen. It's available. We want to share. If you don't have the funny, don't be embarrassed to ask for it. Okay, I'm happy to send to you. There's the classic chimera beast of the scriptures and Revelations. There's the wound on the neck. Okay, the serpent giving power to the beast. That's the chimera, and it's Aramaic backwards. That's the code they use to confuse us, ladies and gentlemen. And Ninja says, I have an update with the books. Okay. Well, I don't know if you're going to put that in the chat. I don't know what that. I'll look at it at the break. Ninja, thank you. She's listening in, I'm sure.
Did you see the new United Nations mascot, I guess, outside? It looks like that chimera almost.
Oh yeah, they're saying but it's definitely a different beast. The one in this chimera is clearly described in Revelations and was found in an Etruscan tomb from that time period. So it perfectly describes, and this is probably just a takeoff, because it's a chimera in that sense. But I don't remember what they call it. Yeah, I saw that the other day. Okay, so continuing here. If the scriptures, shultres, were transliterated in the correct way, and by the way, we're open to any questions if you want to put it in the chat or if you want to call in. I had that contact information earlier. If you didn't write it down, you can get me here on the phone, 608-566-7295, 608-566-7295. I'll give it out later, or Ninja will probably type it in the chat for us. And okay, or Skype, Free America Radio. We haven't tested the Skype yet, so we'll have to do that. Maybe that'd be how we can do that if you want to call in on Skype. Okay, so otherwise I'll just take your question and I'll answer it off with you off air if it doesn't work, because we've had some technical with the audio. Okay, so if the scriptures, which is the original word is shultres, there's where you hear the word sutures, shultres, sutures. Okay, they tie everything together, right? And so scriptures is skip truth. There's your occultic skip truth. Shultres were, okay, so if the shultres were transliterated in the correct way that they were supposed to be, then the state of the world, due to propaganda, as a whole could not accept them. The entire world has been utterly deceived. Without that little excerpt at the end, the main quote, I had read that like 40 years ago, and that the original translation, that's what, I was on the trail. It was clear to me that our scriptures had been altered, and so this has been a lifetime quest to find how the game has been played, and they didn't want us looking at Indo-Germanic, bottom line, which is Aramaic. Okay, and he breathed before them. For this reason, every scribe, or shulfar, the correct word for scribe is shulfar, means soul fire, knowledge from afar, that blow the ram's horn, the shulfar, the scribe, the ram's horn. The book is the shulfar, the knowledge from afar, the knowledge from another world. Okay, and he breathes before them. For this reason, every scribe or shulfar who is instructed into the kingdom of heaven will be like an Ashan, a man, who is in charge of a great estate, who brings out from his treasure the things that are like new, from those deeper and hidden things that are old. The record of truth. Okay, so that's a scripture that has a lot of bearing for me, because Yeshua was telling me by the scripture, that a lot of the things, when you clean up these corrupted versions, it's like a lot of it is taking the classic term leap of faith, but it's seeing it. Once you can see something, you know something is quite obvious based on the pieces of the puzzle. Then to go there, confidently is an important thing. And so the idea of the translations is where I have seen the inconsistencies or the anomalies, to be able to backtrack and find it through the other lost writings, or in the language itself, in the bad word, the election itself, and because the code is revealing itself. So there's words that can be used, and there's words that are not preferred in the discovery at the same time. So order, another Confucius, that's my guy, I got to say, order is real truth. So the only way to get back to law and order is to get back to the real truth, ladies and gentlemen, right? And that's what we try to do right here on the Forbidden History Chronicles on the Missing Link with Jesse. I'm so grateful for Jesse and having the opportunity to have a forum to share. And so I created this week about words, closing out my book at the back, and trying to have people get the connection. Look at the one word above, the next word, the next word. It's telling a story. When you put these words together, things start opening up, because they're disassociated. They're never put together, and therefore there's no bearing, and that's the problem. The beginning, okay, this symbol, okay, now it's real quick. I'm just going to open this one up because it's where is it? Here it is. Okay, important symbol. Glad for this technology, what we can do. Okay, so whenever you're looking at the sun, if you want to look at something old, right, just look at the sun. Don't look at the earth, because everything on the earth is a latecomer. But the sun, is primordially old, but even before it was ignited on fire, a gaseous orb, and it is the logo. Notice how in the Greek they go for in the beginning is the logo, then in the English Ashkenazi version, we get then all of a sudden in the beginning is the word. What happened to the word logo? How can there's no similarity between those words? See, but nobody questions it, so therefore nobody knows. And let's go to sleep now. Okay, we'll feel better tomorrow. Okay, but all of our words are built upon exact and primitive. All of our words are built upon exact and primitive root forms, just like I was sharing with Waddle. Root forms that we all have lost the key knowledge of. Okay, and that should be an OV. For ultraviolet, well, the U in ultra is wrong too. It's everything's wrong. You see, that's the problem, and that's what we're attempting to open up to, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and it's a process. It took me a lifetime. I'm now giving the course where you can just sit back, relax, eat popcorn, and the code is being shared with you. So you do want to take notes. You do want to get a book to help you on the journey, because it's unlocking the mystery of what they've done to us. Back engineer, right? That's what you have to do. Back engineer. What have they done with us? Why did they do it? And and who are these people again? And then you see. So this is my guy, Crazy Horse, because he never surrendered. He never signed a treaty, a peace treaty. Never put the pen to the paper. Those liars. But then he was stabbed in the back by his own people, and bayoneted by a soldier, betrayed by his people. But they're making a monument of him south of Mount Rushmore, called Crazy Horse. This world is only a shadow of the real world. What a profound statement. When I hear that statement, I know this guy was connected, because these ancient peoples, they were also connected. Not all of them. There were renegades. There were stupid Indians too, or Indian is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying, that there were renegade tribes always, but there were those who maintained the ancient past, the pure tradition, the legacy that came down of this election. The first thing that got to me when I was looking at things in America, growing up here in New Jersey, and then like with Sequoia, when I saw the word Sequoia, I said, wait a minute, there's Yah right there, the big ones that go around, and then in other words, and it was opening up, and it's like, okay, making connections, and that's how it starts. You're just looking at the clues, and then you start piecing them together. So I wrote this this week, an excerpt. I wanted to put in the back of the this Kayla D that I'm working on here, the Wise Strangers. Okay, just under 300 pages, I think now. It's getting big. Yeah, just under 300. And so I had a something. I think it was related to the name, is what this was, and how there's the male and female, and that what they stole from us in the imagery in our shultres and our scriptures is the female. They took her out of the scriptures because it's only about the he, whether it's the devil or Satan, it's a he, right? Or and so they gave masculine and they took away the feminine because they embrace the whole woman, who was really the whore of darkness, and mother of darkness. And anyway, the quote gets really into the metaphysics. This particular election, they're called elections in the Gospel of the Nazarene. Gospel is a corruption, means go spell, and it was from the Greek evangelion, and that means the star message of enlightenment. So it's the star message of enlightenment, okay, of the Nazareth. Nazareth is the original word for the Nazarene, okay, then corrupted into a town called Nazareth, which never existed until Constantine's mother put it on the map in 300 AD, circa 300 plus AD. And so,
what else did they put on the map at that time?
Well, Jesse, spill the beans.
That was the Bible.
Oh, yeah. All right. Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. So they're, they took over Buddhism. They take over everything in their corrupted world. And, Buddha never said make statues of him. But then the Islam came along and destroyed all of the beautiful structures, the legacy we've been left. So anyway, here, what this really explains here is the metaphysics within the male and the female. In creation, how it's interplayed, it's the play of the one. There is no male, there is no female, because that is the illusion, you see, of the material world. The Father is one, he is whole, and out of his side came the creation. So there's more than one coming out of the side. It's on the cosmic scale, it's on the male-female scale, and probably on the atomic scale at the same time. So anyway, let me read this. And so you'll get a flavor of the original thought that is in this translation, because what the document becomes is an example of the influence that I'm sharing with the Indo-Germanic, and then the balance I've got to create with staying in the modern, not to lose everybody. That's a real challenge. And Jesse, tell you what, let's go to a musical break, and I'll do this when I get back. I can tell I'm pushing it right now. I need a break, okay? So when we come back, the star message of the Nazareth. You're tuned in on to the Forbidden History Chronicles. Yours truly, Desert Owl. Back to you, Jesse. What am I doing? Okay, I'm unmuted, Jesse. Back?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, I got to remember that. I hadn't done it for a while, so I forget. I get rusty here. All right. The star message of the Nazareth. And by the way, this before I got this gospel of the Nazarenes, as they titled it, and I got that background coming to Jesse also.
I just wanted to say that picture that was in that video clip of the serpent with the legs, that's a pretty powerful picture.
Yeah, you could tell the guy was hoping nobody'd notice, right? Please don't see that I'm a serpent. Come on.
Well, that just depicts how many,
Yeah.
lizards are actually masquerading as people in modern day society.
Nazi, the big serpent, right? In Hebrew means deception. Nasa.
Nasa
So
to
there you
deceive.
go. Okay. So the star message of the Nazareth, they were in the, I first found this in the Gospel of the Holy 12, which was like one generation away from the Gospel of the Nazarene. So so there's differences. I've been comparing them and taking notes. And so this I felt was really significant to share because it's what we lost. Since in the transliteration that I'm doing, I have to include the female correctly as the Freya, also known as the Fae, and the more modern corruption, the Fae and the Fee. There's you pay your fee to the Fae, and where you get the word federal, these things are what have been stolen from us, and they have to be redefined correctly, and then put back in the proper order where they would naturally be, based on words stemming from also Lord and God, also El, and and other. Even the word Deus, right, which is the Latin for who we think of when we say God, means darkness. Okay, Deus. Just with Turk, I learned that with Turk. I was looking up the etymologies. So it's just amazing what we have to get through, ladies and gentlemen, to get to the truth. So here is the read of this, so you can get a feel for it. This will be my first time reading it out loud and getting a feel for it as well. Okay, so Yeshua came to a certain fountain near Bethany, around which grew 12 palm trees, where he often went with his truth seekers to teach them about the mysteries of the kingdom. And so there he sat beneath the shade of the trees, and his truth seekers with him. And one of them breathes, "Teacher, seed planter, it is written from the ancient ledger." The ledger is the age, the ancient past. The ledger of the past. "The Elohim made Ashan," man. Man means criminal and sinner. It's out of the Babylonian Talmud, so you don't want to be a man. We're Ashan, royal eyes. Okay, so the Elohim made the Ashan, the royal eyes, in their own image, male and female. Feshon, created they them. So how can you breathe that the Yahweh is one, and Yeshua breathes to them? "It is the truth throughout all time that I breathe for you." Within the Yahweh, that's the original for what became corrupted as Yahweh. Okay, the Yahweh, and there's 3 letters, not 4. It's a tetragrammaton. And Yeshua breathes to them, "It is the truth throughout all time that I breathe for you." Within the Yahweh, there is neither male nor the female. Freya male, because they both are one. And the Yahweh is the 2 in the 1. Okay, so get that. That's the source. That's the source. The 2 in the 1. The he is the she, and the she is the he. The Yahweh is this perfect, complete, infinite, whole, and one. As in the Ashan, man, the Father is revealed and the Mother hidden, so it is in the woman, the Ashaphe. The Mother is revealed and the Father is hidden. So Israel was introduced to the Mother, and then the Father came, Yeshua introduced him, continuing here. For this reason, must the sacred title of the great Father, of the one great Father, and of the natural Mother be equally revered and separated. Their names be equally revered and separated, because they are the great powers of the El Shaddai, misnomer-ed as El Shaddai, misnomered as Almighty, overshadowing all. And the one is not without the other. In the one, the Yahweh. The Yahweh is above you, beneath you, on your right hand and on your left hand, before you and behind you, all around you, within you and without you. It is the truth throughout all time that I breathe for you. There is only one, the Yahweh, who is everything, within everything, the all within all, and within whom all things are maintained, the fountain of all arbitrary life, and the substance without beginning and without end, the non-engendered. The things that are seen and pass away are the manifestations of the non-visible, visible, that are eternal, that from the visible things of nature, so that you reach up to the non-visible things of the A spirit. So they remove the A. That's why you see it there, ladies and gentlemen, and throughout the entire document in many ways. So by that, this material attain to that which is spiritual. It is the truth throughout all time that I breathe for you. The Elohim created a Shan, man, in the Trevain, divine image of male and female, Freya Ma, representing the complete nature of the Yahweh, being both the male and the female, not divided. The two in one, non-divided and eternal, by whom and in whom are all things maintained, visible, and the non-visible. From the eternal, they flow back to the eternal. They return. Sometimes I'm giving you both, sometimes just one, because I'm getting a feel for it at the same time. The spirit to apart. The spirit to a spirit, soul to soul, shul, mind to main, mayan to main, lower essence to higher sense, life to arbitrary, form to forma, dust to dust. In the beginning, the Vijenang, the Yahweh, who is the great Zul of Hain, Elohim, God, Vileth, willed, and there came forth the only loved seed and son and daughter, sacred Veshatam, wisdom, holy, and Trevain, lava, divine love, equally proceeding, that the one, the Von A, the one I, the eternal fountain. And from these are the generations of the A spirits of the mother star in the eye of the return, the Most High, the sons and daughters of the eternal one. And this nature, this energy transcends down to the ground, primordial center, earth, and dwells with a Shan for the seed planting, teaching of them the way of the Yahweh, to lava ha-leah, to love the law of the eternal, and the true way, the obey it, that therein they may find soul novation, becoming a new star. Soul novation corrupted into salvation. Many nations, N-A-S-H-A-N-Z, no T, no I, where'd they come from? Nations? I've seen that for a long time. The many nations have seen their day. Below are many names that have been revealed for them as they have stood up in the flowing light, rejoiced in this light, and even now they come again for you. But Esha Reyuva, Israel, will not receive them. It is the truth throughout all time that I breathe before you. Lo. My 12, whom I have chosen, that what has been taught by them from ancient time, it is true throughout, although corrupted by the foolish imaginations of Ashan, the royal eyes of man. Yeah, corrupted by those who hate our guts, who give it to us every day on the boob tube, ladies and gentlemen. And so that's a read. I think I just have a couple closing quotes for food for thought. This is the original. You're hearing about the original thought transliteration project, which we definitely need support for. We sure appreciate Angeline and Jesse for supporting our broadcast here, bringing it on, and and for anybody out there, we give it on a song, a wing, and a prayer. You are our prayer, and we just want to share this information with you. And now I'm getting confused on my computer again.
And you are our sunshine, our only sunshine.
Well, thank you. Every little bit helps. So, okay, now I know where I was going to go. I got lost between my switch outs here. I want to go into the dictionary. That's the next thing we're going to do. Let me just pull that up. That's a nice picture. Now you got to go down. Okay, and and we're good. We're good. We got just 30 minutes, basically, Jesse, right? 30 minutes. Okay. And okay, so this is the original thought Indo-Germanic etymological dictionary, right out the gate in 2020, just as the demonic happened, and then couldn't go out anymore. But it was good, perfect timing, because I was cramming on the final prototype of the real McCoy this time dictionary. This is like my 10th attempt at a dictionary, and was bringing on, of course, the Indo-Germanic in particular, what I was discovering of late, and exposing the code. Part of the dictionary strategy that I have is that I have to translate as well, and I need to put the translations of words within the my own dictionaries in order to help me remember, because it's just too much. Hang on a minute. I have 50,000 3x5 cards with notes on them, but how can I dig now through 50,000 cards? And the good news is, in the process, the Heavenly Father taught me to read. And so once you know the meaning of a symbol, then you don't forget it, just like you never forget there's a serpent and a tree in the garden, right? And there never was an apple, but it said the fruit. And the question is, what was the fruit that they were producing? And then the next verse is that then she has a baby, go put two and two together. But anyway, here we are in Alpha, in the dictionary. The alphabet, it's the alphavat. It's they corrupted the B and the V, and the vat is the serpent. So the alphabet is a serpent, okay? And I'm just going to go like on little highlights in here to show you, because okay, why don't I even want a free copy? I think once you see this, you're going to want a copy to maybe even print out and put on the table. But it's a conversation piece, because it's sharing things in a way that's not been done before, and to support the translation project in both ways of financial support, but also to helped with the translation project. I have my other dictionaries that I still use, but this is the more advanced style now. So this is when I saw that it was AVG. I got there as the first letters, but then it really became the Zorro. The Zorro is the third letter with the cross on it, and it's right here. And this was the tip-off that connected the letter G to capital G, which I knew was the third letter at that point, but then realized it was a cover for the full circle and the four directions, that the light comes down into all four directions. All the earth receives light at one point in a year, or really at 2 points. And so so then the D is the death letter, and we're going to go into that and show you. But anyway, so this is where I was at the time in discovery, and I just realized what was going on, and then got past the AVG. I think in my notes here, I did a correction, slight correction. But the A words are words to look at because everything begins with A, and they're power words. Even they had, I think I can go bigger on my screen if I do this. Let me try that to help you all out. Sorry about that. Should have went back right here real quick for you. Okay. I know a lot of people have smaller devices or bad quality. Okay, so like this word abracadabra, you know how they pull these things together. I guess in Kabbalism, they may have come up with that. But there's a lot of enigmas with words. It was an art, poetry, like they did things in like 4 quartos, they call them, or stanzas or whatever. And it was an art. Here we see the word Adam, and so what's interesting is this is the way it was. You see, so not only did this top part have to flip over, the right has to go onto the left, and the left has to go onto the right, but literally then flip it over again upside down. So 2 ways, both ways. And then you get the right side of the alphabet where you can clearly distinguish that it's an A, a D, and an M for the primary root of the word Adam. Okay, so that's the perfect example right there. That's why when you look at what they call the Aramaic alphabet, it looks funny. It doesn't look like our modern alphabet that is making very specific, distinct shapes, that have been refined. These are the crude. And that's what, if they came out, then they would always come out as crude. The Phoenicians pretty well locked them in by the time they're writing on their monuments and on Greek monuments, and then finally into Rome. Okay, then we define a lot of the words that are important in our knowledge of our spirituality. Again, the nature of things. The adder, which it means knowledge. The serpent, knowledge. The serpent was not revered in negative terms the way it is today. The serpent was a spiritual symbol, and you could be the Naga, and if you were the Naga, you were the thought twister. You twisted ideas and thoughts. You could make things, in expression, and so you were the Naga, the serpent, the wise serpent. Or if you were a carpenter, again, you're a wood twister, so you were the Naga. These are the things that have. So they're calling you a serpent, basically. The word serpent, and I don't know if it's right here in this definition, but it's servant. Serpent is servant. So they used to call the servant the serpent. Oh, my serpent. Hey, tell my serpent when you see him, I need him. Okay? Yeah, all right. Bring that serpent over here, and let me put him to work. So this is how utterly different it was to talk back then, because everything had a reference point in nature, And but now we have abstract terms that give us no pictures. Even the word laundry, nobody today probably would think, that it's talking about drying it on the lawn. You don't do laundry, But it's the enigma that Waddle pointed out, that we're speaking 70% ancient Aryan, and it's just been, they altered it a little bit on that chimera. And so, have you been able to go through the dictionary yourself much, Jesse? You may have walked away. Okay.
Pardon?
Oh, no, I was just asking if you had a chance to go through it much yourself.
No.
Okay, we need to get you the hard copy. Okay, so here's an example of where I was putting up. I have more than one comparison of alphabets, ladies and gentlemen, and there it is right there, the third letter. You see, they didn't put it in the third position, and they're making it look like an O, but it is the third letter, the Zora, with the 4 directions. So they shuffled up the old alphabet as well, you know, and they read the vowels into it. The vowels were not a part of the original 22 letters. 22 letters were the consonants, and there were sonants, not a con. Don't put a con in front of it. The sonants, the sounds that they made. So let's see here. Let's go down to the. Okay. Okay. Here, let's show, because you hear me using the word Asia quite a bit, and the Asia line I discovered within the royal family line that came through Abraham, who was actually Zavram Haim, Avram. Abram is Avram, the star ram, and so they pass this lineage down, and so we got the firstborn over here, and they got the name like Ishmael was Ashemaul, Asha or Ashemazul, but then we see it goes over to Isaac, and he becomes Ashayak. He's the secondborn and is the preferred. And so this pattern goes all the way through the secondborns. Okay, the firstborns are left behind, born of a slave, you know, and all these other stories that transpired.
Angeline's got a secondborn named Isaac.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah, Isaac, Ashayak. Ashayak is the name. This is an example of how they've corrupted, like Israel. Israel's really Eshareova. You know, these were big words back then. We've never seen them. We've never seen the original words, so therefore, how can we know, right? And so there was this study, you know, of getting every dictionary from Europe on my desk, and then the older dictionaries, the Hittite dictionary, and all that. I got Welsh and Sanskrit and everything, you know. I got Ladino out of Spain, Ladino from the Jewish-speaking Spaniards over there. You know, I got dictionaries you not heard of. So anyway, so you follow them the trail and you see what's going on, and that's key. Let me go to the Batman. That was one I wanted to go to. Show you the Batman. You can see this is a big dictionary. This is near 150 pages. It's good enough. Okay, so B. Where's the B? Where's the bat? I put the V, and there it is. The B came after the B. So here we go. So there's Basilica is from basilisk, and it means the royal abode of the basilisk. I can't even say it. Basilisk, the king of serpents. That's a nice guy to be coming at you from the Vatican. And so what we see then just below that, we see bastard. And so a bastard has not a parent. So it's a bat star. It's the star. And the bat, then when we look at the word Batman, the bat becomes more clear, but it was a V. Bat is really vat. So bat means serpent. And so the bat, like a baseball bat or a billy club of a police officer, is the serpent, you know, that's going to hit you over the head. He's the serpent, and his stick is the serpent. But you got two serpents coming at you. And so there's the definition for that. Then the battery is where we get the word battery from. It means you got a bunch of bats getting around, keeping the charge going. You know what I mean? And so bat horse, then you know, because the caravan, it goes into the caravan, and so the Batman, which I define down here, I'll come back to it. He got the bat money right here. I couldn't get over it when I was reading Wilde's dictionary from the 1930s out of England, and right in there I saw bat money. You know, it's like, oh, Batman, okay, what's this? And then it fits with the movie Batman when he went to Tibet. You know, the Bruce Wayne went to Tibet, learned how to do, you know, martial arts, right? And to fight and to overcome his fears. And it was all an example of the ritual of these one world puppet taker order followers, you know, that run our government, so-called governments, that you know, they know it's going back to the old school, you know. And so anyway, so bat money, we see these are the advance for payments, bat correctly with an H, BHAT. And also then is vat for will. It has to do with the ba is the will. Made to plowman of interest, extension. Okay. Anyway, then going down here, look at this coin that came out 2020, just in time for that, you know what, a bat on the back of the 25-cent piece. I don't remember if I even looked for that or saw it. You know, I don't get out much anymore spending money. So
That's so crazy.
mm-hmm. So you're seeing this for the first time then, Jesse, right? You've not seen the dictionary.
Oh,
You haven't seen this. Yeah, this is a so then the bat room is the serpent room. You know, if bat and bat the serpent, it's the serpent room, the bathroom. And then the Batman is the guy who unloaded the caravan after they went on their long journey down the Silk Road, and they're bringing back the secrets, you know, the secrets from all around the world, the information, you know, the special places where the wealth is hiding, you know, all those things. The Batman, he got paid to unload the camels, so it was a special officer. So that's where the first police officer comes from the Batman who guarded the caravan. He was working for the money, the bat money, all the time. We should have known. Should have known. And here we see the beast system. And I point towards India. And so I have a couple examples in here, you know, dealing with India and how they're really running the world. I give you the leads by following the word trail, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see a lot of here terms like behold and believe. You know, these are for my translation purposes, but to help everybody else, since these are words that have been spoon-fed to us that are not the correct terms. The truth is not a part of any lie, therefore we have to know, you know, these different things. So here, look at this. It's all about symbolism. See, so what I finally realized when they were playing that trick with the G, you know, and it was really the third letter of the O, called Zorro, which went in every direction, the symbolism, the cross for navigation, for steering. Then the small g, and I've known this now, you know, before this dictionary it ever got in here for, you know, quite a while, that this was a cobra. You see, it's coiled serpent coming around. Then here's the big head that blows up and his little face, you know, on the front of the cobra. And so it's a serpent. You see, so it's a serpent cult that is doing it to us. And there's their symbol, the G they all wear on their ring, right? For geometry and all the garbage and the gold that they like. Then it gets into the word gamma. Really interesting. A lot of the discoveries I made in doing the dictionary, looking up words, you know, gematria, talk about that in here. The GH, the code you got right in the middle of your keyboard, 2 letters, GH, right in the middle of your keyboard on your computer. That's because it's the code that means to return. And I showed it right on the Declaration of Independence right here. That's not an A for America. That's an upside down G and an H. And so therefore the H is dominant. For hermeneutics, hermeneutics means the use of words as code. I'm not giving the most exact definition of it, but that's the paraphrase. So the GH for the return, because they're going to pretend that they created it. That's what this last 3 presentations were about with the Aryan invasion and who, you know, is really running the world, the unseen hand. And so it was all grand illusion engineered by the Jewish New Word at the time, 1775, for 1776 of the phony founding of America, the July, the 4th of July. 2 months late after the Illuminati, who did it May 1st, so they trumped us. It was always in their possession, never going to let us have real freedom. Just go to work, slave. Go to work. Come on, get up every day, Monday through Friday. Don't forget. You got to work just to pay your bills, and you got to start all over again every Monday. Isn't it beautiful? Sweet. And you take care of yourself. We don't have to take care of you. All right, so going on further here, getting into words. Here's then a powerful one. This one, boy, this was a major, Indo-Germanic discovery on knowledge, where we see the word gnosis from. Gnostic gets a bad rap, and it simply means knowledge, and it's only because they associated with a group of people that have never read their works, and they think, yeah, they must be bad guys if they're Gnostics. But the ones who really call themselves Gnostics are the nobles, the ones who are in all their great castles around the world. They're the ones really claiming the term Gnostic, and but not, again, it's the word knowledge, and that's why in the Vatican they call them agnostics. They're against knowledge. They want you to be stupid, but then so the nobles must be the ones that want to be smart, like the ones running the world, Francis Bacon's and all of those guys. Okay, so God is Pope. Even the word Papa, just come to learn over the last few months ago, it means evil. It had several other words after that to describe it, but basically Papa is evil. We have a Papa, we have a Pope, he's evil. Yes, we knew that. Okay, C for crescent. I'm getting down to the D's. There's a lot in here. I just want you to really get an idea that this is a major work, ladies and gentlemen, and it's well illustrated, in different ways. So here we get to the D words. That's when the sun sets. Darkness, death, destruction. And this helps you, when you're reading like your scriptures, or you're looking at words in general, these are the tip-offs, by knowing what certain letters mean, then you can, just like better not say that F word, phaser. We can say it sounds like another company, right, wanting to give something to you. Well, we know what a phaser is, right? Lock on phasers. All right. So what they're telling you then, what they want to do to you, right? So here we go. And what do they call the latest one? Where when you translate the letters from, you rearrange the letters from media control and you get delta, omni something. Okay, so check that out. And when you reverse the letters, it's media control, all the same letters. It's amazing. They worked hard. They would.
That would be delta and omicron. You arrange the letters and then it's media control.
Omicron, yeah, because if it should have had an N because it's omni, but because it had to fit the anagram, they took the N out, and so it's not omnicron, it's omicron, and so it's a little tongue twister. But that's really, it's media control. So they're telling you it's in our face. We all get it. Everybody knows, and nobody can stop the meat grinder. It keeps on ticking. So look at these D words, ladies and gentlemen. Danger, doom, deserted, dread, disaster, dagger, delta, die. See, so you got the graphic. Okay, so I'm not going to stay there, but you can stop it there and then compare and see. And then there's Sir David, because his real name is right here. It's Tavat. There's your Eve in the middle, the woman, and the two crosses for sun and moon, the beginning and the end, the polarities. Therefore, his name Tavat means creation. That's why, because see, David, he wasn't perfect. He wasn't like Abraham. He wasn't like Melchizedek. He wasn't like Enoch. He wasn't like Noah. He was having problems, and killing his soldiers and stealing their wives. And so, but why did the Father love him so much? Because he was so, he creates a picture of our sincerity, but yet he needed, soul novation. And but the good news is in this story is if we think that there's no hope for us, we know in this story that there really is, because he knows our problems, he knows our dilemma, and he wants us to bring us. His job is a star navigator and a soul navigator and a savior. So, so going over these terms, ladies, and like dial, the dayal, the yal that goes round. Is the key word of his name. It's the yal, Yalvolhe, the yal that goes round. That's the dial. There's the word hill. Actually, Jesse and I have the same last names. He's just missing an L. The I is a corruption, so hill is really to be replaced with the A as a primary. And so my last name would really be Hall as well, with two L's. and it means the place. Literally, even though when we think of a mountain and then we think of a hill, we think of the hill as like small, but that's not the original word. It literally means, because as we see, it's associated with the sovereign of the universe in Dayal, in the Yalvohe, and Yahshua's real name is Yal Shulim Va. There's the Yal again. It means the place of the gods, which then would be translated the place of the Elohim, or the place of the Zulafhaim. Okay, the ones who came down with the vision and the light. Okay, so it's a power word, and so you get, everybody knows what a dial is. Well, there it is. You see, they abbreviated all the words outside the Vatican at the College of Abbreviators, and I'm giving you all the evidence for it. Okay, proof of the pudding is in the eating and reading of it, ladies and gentlemen. I cover a lot of ground in the alphabet. You know, it really goes on. This is a good classic one. You know, showing why there's two G's on the word egg, because the G represents the sun, and so the egg is the second sun. You see, the second sun. And it's to remind us, don't forget where you come from. You came from the light, all of creation, out of the atomic gas that was lit on fire. And I give examples in here of Old English. Here's an Old English scripture. Okay, oh, this is Middle English. Okay, this is Wycliffe. Middle English. Then here's Old English example. Okay, so you can actually see what that looks like. So a lot of good intellectual stuff in here. It's gotta see this bad guy. Come on. All right, come on. Where is he? I missed him. There's an interesting one right there. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Fauci, right? Okay, got a definition on him in there, and then there's the political state. Well, what are these? They've always been on the podium behind the speaker. It's the fasci. So they told us from the beginning that the United States Corporation is a fascist state, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so they always tell us this guy was there with the AIDS, and now they've compared what he did with AIDS, and as it is with there is no sicko going around, right? Other than they want to put in you. Well, this guy got everybody convinced they had a disease called AIDS and got them on medication that killed them quickly. You see, and it's doing it. Here he is doing it again. How about that? And then we got just little tidbits, talking about Fibonacci and the graphics. There's a lot of marginal graphics. Here's the original H. Taking you back into the historical and so forth. And let's open it up if there's any questions, Jesse. I'd be glad to go there, because we're getting to where you need to get off. It's 2:00 now. I see that. So
yeah. Anybody have any questions here for Desert about any of the stuff that we covered?
Yeah, we're gonna go into the alphabet next week, and we'll be bringing that to you so that you can see the hieroglyph. These are hieroglyphics, and then you'll get the meaning, and then you'll be set free from the ignorance that they put us under. To ignore. Ignorance is to ignore something that's right in front of us. Here's where they put out of Egypt, the N goes back to Phoenicians and nations and all that. And Nathan, also the word Nathan, and it's got a crown on it. And that's the first letter of the alphabet. We see in the Hebrew the Aleph right here, and the N in the middle next to the M, both at the center of the alphabet. Then at the end, the disease, saying that they were there at the beginning, they're there in the middle, and they are there at the end. And there you go. And NASA, of course, deception. So are we?
Melissa asks, do you have a website?
Well, I have the radio network that you can see the old work that I've done. There's samples of the download of my first translations there as well. They're a little bit more crude, but you can go to the realpublicradio.net, the word the realpublicradio.net, and you can do that. Okay, and so I can't even remember what I put on here, but you can see right here I put on. Let me blow this up a little better to show how I put the detail in taking you back into the Anglo-Saxon rune. Then here we got the Hebrew, and then I'm presenting the Indo-Germanic, and there was a lot of trial and error in getting these type of formats to but yeah, it's
Do you know what? Do you know anything about the North Pole? So she said her friend Eric Plot believed or thought we came from the North Pole. Have you heard anything about us coming from the North Pole?
well, that may have been interpreted that way at one point, because the word north means up, and so when what I was just showing you with the letter N, right? It had a crown on it, and we find it in Egypt and also the Phoenician, and so north means straight up, and there it goes back to the Yal, to the Dayal, which is the place of the gods. So that's really what it implies. Not that they're from the north, but that they came down from above, the sky gods, also known as sun gods, corrupted into son of God. The son of God should be correctly seed of the sun, is the way it would be. I have a whole listing of here, as you can see, of O words, to show patterns. I'm trying in this dictionary to show different patterns. Orange, 33-degree Freemasonry. This is the power flag, the ones running the world we talk about when we get in it later on. Okay, and original thought examples. Alarm. There's the alarm. What happens when the alarm goes off? Oh, everybody gets up to grab their weapons, right? The all arms. All arms. Everybody gets arms. Then Alpine is all pine. Alien is Aryan. Bananas is bone harvest. Bastard, bat star. Go ahead.
What about Zorro? Is that on the list?
Zorro would be synonymous with zero. No, I don't see it there. Yeah, zero. Because it's infinite, symbol of infinite. So it's not negative, by itself. But anyway.
What about the black sun?
Do I have a definition, or?
No, just what do you think about the black sun?
Well, this is what they're constantly revealing in so much of their work, whether it's the translation itself. When you put the C in front of the S, then it's a hieroglyph. What am I doing here? The like the word shul became school, right? And so shul is the original word for knowledge, and then it was corrupted. It was corrupted into school, and they put the C in front of the S, and so that gives us then an occult, or what we could call it, the eclipse. They're occulting the S, so it went from shul, then to school, and so this is how just like feet is really Fae. So this thing about the woman, the Freya, there's we are the Fae, we are the creation. Therefore the priesthood takes it to the next level, and they say we are the woman, and therefore we're going to wear dresses, from Scottish Rite kilts to Catholic priests, so it's again goes back to that symbolism. They don't care what the symbols are, as long as you're or what the answers are, as long as you're asking the wrong questions, So, but anyway, if there's no more questions, Jesse, I guess we could wrap it up and go to our song. And
I think that is everything. So, any more questions? No, that was it. So, thanks everybody for being a part of the Forbidden History Chronicles. Thanks so much for your teachings, Desert Owl. Thanks for all you're doing for humanity.
Thank you for bringing on Jesse, and just don't forget, everybody, if you want to join us every Sunday at 12 noon Eastern time, we intend to be here while we have time left. And don't forget, if you want to know the future, then just look forward to Forbidden History, because it's all right here coming your way every Sunday, 12 noon Eastern time, with Jesse Hall on The Missing Link with the Forbidden History Chronicles. Yours truly, Desert Owl. We'll see you.
Deus Adonai.